Tracy Cotton, I'm so excited to sit down and talk with you about this great idea that really has evolved since I introduced the concept of what I called a technology sharing group. And I wanted to talk to you about how you've built it, how it worked, and so forth. And I thought I'd give a second to describe the concept, and then we'll move into how you've taken the ball and improved it as well.
Well, I had been to some of your classes, and I had heard about the concept, and I just recognized that within the community here in McDowell County that we had so many business owners of all sizes, and even in the nonprofit realm, that were struggling over one single topic that just seemed to be coming up again and again, and it was marketing. And it could be that they didn't know what they wanted their next business card to look like, but more so we were actually seeing folks that had questions about social media and digital marketing. And I knew that the Chamber had those questions, the Marion Business Association was getting those questions, and neither one of those organizations really were prepared to answer those questions or really address that other than a hit or miss type of thing. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be kind of great if we just all got together and just met regularly, talked about it, and we're not in silos anymore. I'm not sitting over here trying to figure out how to recreate the wheel. I'm not trying to figure it all out over there. We all talk about it, and we could maybe make a difference. And that's how it got started. And, after I talked to you and we kind of came up with some framework, the idea of how to set up a meeting and what was the most optimal way to do that, I went ahead and I pitched it to the Chamber and the MBA because I wanted them to understand that this was not a competing group. We were not trying to come up with a whole other economic development group or anything. This was just something to kind of add on. And they both got on board. And they have been very supportive to make sure that we had a place to meet and a little bit of coffee and donuts in the morning because we picked the morning. And we came up with a regular date that kind of met everybody's schedule. And they did a lot of the advertising for me. So they made sure that their memberships all knew about it. But to me, the most important factor was that they didn't have to be a member of anything in order to attend. And so that actually has been good because we've continued to grow our membership with people who weren't necessarily, they weren't necessarily in the Chamber or the MBA. This was just something that they could come and join and be a part of for no charge.
And the big thing is it gave good PR to the Chamber. So because then they had other features you could announce. Yes. So it's a way to really appropriately market the Chamber.
Yes.
And say, they're sponsoring this so you can give a plug. So sometimes people need to be warmed up to join the Chamber as well.
Exactly. This gave them a little bit of an opportunity to meet some new people that maybe they weren't reaching otherwise. And really, I just think that, in some cases, these were businesses that really didn't know. They were really very small and kind of getting off the ground through word of mouth, having heard about it. And now some of those folks actually have gotten plugged into groups on how to really get started in business and learn more about how to take their business, the next level. And I think that that's been helpful because they might not have known about it if they hadn't come to the marketing mastermind.
And the concept came because years ago, I led a referral group with like 40 people, and I'm all for good referral groups. But the challenge is come once a week, give your pitch, and then leave. And what I realized is with technology moving so quick, if I come into a town and I teach something, I'll get them going, but where are they going to get ongoing support? And some, they aren't ready to spend money and invest in a local person yet. They really need to know a little more and so forth. And I'm a big advocate of helping support those local businesses, but they need the education first. Mm-hmm. And what I did is I converted a referral group at the Capital City Club over 12 years ago into a technology sharing group where we met and we talked about LinkedIn and tools like that. And it was more B2B. And I realized people are building more trust by teaching each other and learning together than giving their 60-second commercial. And again, those have a great place. And there were also round tables of helping ideas, but this is different. This is more, let's keep up with the technology together. We might bring someone in and there are clear ground rules, no promotion, because why? It wouldn't work.
Exactly.
If you just give away great education, there's a great quote from John Ferrara from Nimble, and he said, if you teach people how to fish, they're going to figure out you sell fishing poles.
Yes.
You know, and I love that.
Exactly.
And that's, to me, a softer, appropriate, transparent sell than giving your pitch, and people are doing their shopping list in their head during it, or the round table is really kind of a think tank for problems, which is a little different. That's a little more vulnerable for some people to get into. I have a online kind of version of this. We meet every week just to keep up with social media. I want to see this in every single town. And the concept is you need to have a person like you that says, part of my marketing and caring of my community is a pay it forward program. And because you offer great insurance services that to me are very relevant to the people, you need to be building trust with them personally.
Exactly.
And so, you know, get somebody like that to be the head, then work with the small business center, at least introduce it to them, sure. and then work with the chamber and economic development or downtown development, and then let's get together, and the concept is have a person or someone local come in and educate on what they need to learn in a way that they can slowly develop some vulnerability of learning together.
Exactly.
And that builds trust. And it's sort of like the story of stone soup. You know, we're getting together and we're going, well, we got some stones, and someone goes, well, I got a little celery I think I found under this cabinet, and I got a little, and that's what I've seen happen.
Exactly.
And it takes a while to build trust in this. They're neighbors. There's limited, you know, it's easy to look out and go, well, if they come to my shop and spend money, then they don't have money for the next. When in actuality, the truth is, there's more than enough for everybody if we all work together and market the area.
Then that's what's happened. And that was something I wanted to be really clear about from the get-go, because having known about a lot of the referral groups and how they will typically only allow there to be one realtor in the room and one insurance rep and one, you know, attorney, we made it very clear from the get-go that if there's going to be more than one of us, if there's going to be 2 funeral homes, right. And there's definitely 2 funeral homes in town,
that's great.
More than one,
right.
More than 2 actually, that they would all be welcome.
Yeah.
And then what we would do is that we really just would work to make sure that everybody understood that, you know, that we were being collaborative and cooperative in these things, and that, you know, that we would, you know, try to be as free for their information as possible. But once they really understood that if they were going to talk a little bit about, well, we're going to have a sale next week and we wanted to advertise it, but we weren't really sure how to get the word out, that them having a sale wasn't going to keep somebody else. Could they have a sale? They could. Is it going to compete against each other? Maybe. But really, at the end of the day, if you're just all talking about marketing, it's not how can I take each other's customers. It's really how are we working together in the community? How are we getting the word out about our own businesses, because we all prosper from that.
Yeah.
And that's worked. We've had, you know, more than one realtor for sure,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had more than one of other businesses, definitely more than one restaurant
right.
in the same room, and it's worked out. But that's one of the ones that we knew that was going to be kind of a little bit of a hurdle, because, you know, if so-and-so shows up, then is somebody else going to not like the fact that so-and-so's in the room? And we kind of breezed through that, and it never was an issue. And really, as you mentioned, not making it just a platform for advertising to this group,
right.
Like, okay, I'm going to come to this group and I want to advertise. That's the whole reason I'm coming. No, it was never that. And we've had a number of folks who have regularly attended that are in the social media business or in the website design business, PR, and you name it, any of that kind of stuff. They are in that, and they've had their opportunity to help teach, but they've all had fair opportunity, and it was not a time for them just to get up and pitch themselves. It was really more after they had spent time, and we didn't even start with them. We started with other people in the community who were business owners who were really just killing it on something. Mm-hmm. Like maybe they had one thing they were doing really well, like you said, right. They were bringing the celery to the table,
right.
and then somebody else was bringing, you know, the carrots, and that's how we got started as far as speakers. We've had a couple of paid speakers. Mm-hmm. My agency was willing to do a little bit of sponsorship this year to bring in a couple of fairly local experts, if you will. One of them just happened to be in something that nobody had gotten really excelled at in the area, and it was on Instagram. And it was good just because it was somebody that we knew, and we were able to get him in at a reasonable cost. But we just paid him a little bit. But most everybody has been just local other business owners, happy to share. And of course, they do get to introduce who they are, and people get to know them better, and are probably more likely to use their services as well. So it's win-win without being the strictly just the pitches, like you said.
Right. And again, those serve their purpose too.
Exactly.
And that's fine. And I know the B&I in the area, and they're great people, and they work real well.
Exactly.
This is another niche, and this doesn't exclude that either.
No.
I would love you to tell one or two of the success stories, and my favorite is the hardware story, because they clearly were not doing something.
No, they were not.
Picked it up, and now it's really exploding. And this is the example of we will trust each other more if we have to shovel a ditch together or something than if I give you a sales pitch. But it's in the learning domain. So would you share that story of the...
Well, Spencer Ace Hardware here in McDowell County has been there for many years. And they've done really well with traditional advertising, and newspaper inserts and things like that. But there's some folks in their location that had been really wanting to try to do some new things. So one of them was starting to come and attend the meetings, and Sunny was taking lots of notes. I could see it every time she'd come in. She was taking lots of notes, and she'd said to me privately, "I think that we're thinking about doing some video." And I said, "Well, I'll come down and I'll show you what it just looks like to do a Facebook Live."
Right.
We'd already talked about it in class. I went down and did a little Facebook Live with them. It was great because they happened to be one of my customers. It was win-win, and she saw exactly how it went.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started going at it. And when I mean going at it, I am absolutely amazed at the results that they've had. They're up to almost 4,200 followers on Facebook.
From what approximate do you think
they
it was
had probably
when they started?
at about 1,500. They had
Right. That's a very healthy growth.
They were already talking about it. People were saying, follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
But up until that point, really all they had on Facebook were the things like, this is on sale this week, or get your snow shovels before the snowstorm, which is relevant and good content for their, for what their niche is.
Right.
But the video just tells their story.
Yeah.
And it lets different people in the group get a little bit of a little bit of the spotlight. And they've really actually just brought it up to a whole nother level. As I had mentioned to you in passing, they have one video that was recently on there that I checked just recently, up to 152,000 views.
And tell them that. Is that the raise your feet, there's lava?
Yes. And it was, it had nothing to do with the hardware store, but here goes, one of the guys through the store, and it shows little clips as he goes through and catches different workers in the store who are just minding their own business, stocking shelves, doing something else. And he'll say, the floor is lava, and that's code for you got to get off the floor.
Yeah.
And even one of the owners is caught at one point in time, and she jumps up on top of a little stand
or something.
One of the guys is out in the back where all their outdoor things are, and he yells it out to him, and he grabs a pole and gets his feet up.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And I could tell that was what caught on. And you go back and you look at some of the other videos, they just had such success with that. But it's because they probably always had that personality and had never been able to show that to the
And it wasn't
public.
amplified. The world didn't know. That's the key thing.
The world knows that this is a local store that's going to do all this for you, but you're also going to be welcome and have this great feeling whenever you come in because everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
That's just unusual. They have a big box competitor here in town, and they don't have 152,000 views on a video.
And you said they're seeing increase in business. That's what matters. That's where we're at.
They've continued to do it because that's one of the things that they know people are talking about.
And here's what I see is the group provided a catalyst to start going, maybe we can learn a little more. Yes. And then maybe that could have been a local person they then chose to hire instead of you to bring in to help out and then kick it off. And that's the key thing is let's get each other to start seeing what's great in our own town. And it's another byproduct of this structure that there's genius and brilliance right in our own town, not outside. And I would see that because I've helped so many people in marketing. I go, come to my class, and go, well, you do this. Yeah, but it's inappropriate for me to sell.
Right.
So I'm helping. I'll do better in the bigger picture of my reputation, building a local business that does exactly what I might do in Raleigh, then let that be lost. And one person I had just like followed me around for 50 miles and built his whole web business off of it. But the piece here is technology is moving so fast, we have to work together to keep up.
Exactly.
And it's changing so fast. And a small business can't just write a check or always get away to a seminar. And then the thing that's exciting is when I offer a seminar here, people come in from it, or we'll do that, or the webinar. We did one remotely with the webinar in your group. And then I can say, take this back to the group and discuss it. And it amplifies it all. In kind of wrapping it up, would you just tell a little bit about the anatomy of how yours works? Because I think each one, I have a rough sketch of how to do it, and I'll make sure that's available for anyone knows it. But the idea is take this idea and customize it to your community. So talk about kind of the structure, because you need a structure with integrity or people won't trust you. It can't be slack or lazy or we shift it around or change it every time or move it everywhere. Mm-hmm. I've learned that. I'll tell people moving a group is often the kiss of the death of the group. So if you can find a place and be there, that's critical. So if you tell a little bit about the anatomy of this group and the name of it too. You chose
the McDowell Marketing Masterminds, and M4 for short. And we've done some of those kind of things. And we have the monthly meeting, which is we keep it to just an hour. Mm-hmm. We do it prior to when most businesses open in town. So it starts at 7:45 and it ends by 8:45.
Great.
For the folks that still want to talk till 9 o'clock and so forth, have fun with that. But we really want to try to get it wrapped up. So to make sure that time is tight and we're really trying to respect everyone's time, we try to get everybody in, get everybody seated. They've got their coffee. We go around and we do just a brief, how's it going? And meet some new people if there's some new folks that are there, and everybody gets a chance to. And also it's good because if we brought in a guest speaker who's not familiar with the area, or maybe even somebody who just is not familiar with this group, they get a chance to hear a little bit about what each business does, and they can maybe tailor what they're talking about more specifically. Then it's basically just turn it over to the speaker. They have a set amount of time, and they know that amount of time is there, so that they've got really no more than really 30 minutes, a little bit of time for questions at the end. And, when we've been a little flexible in one direction or the other, but that's the set schedule so that everybody knows this is what we do, and they know to come and, be prepared to say hello, but keep it brief. Mm-hmm. And the speaker knows ahead of time how much time that they have to present, and they know that I'm going to be keeping them to that schedule so that we don't end up running over. That it doesn't have that feeling of, we got to rush. That part's been really good, and that part has really been, I think, good because it kept it a schedule that people could understand and that people felt good about. Mm-hmm. The value that people are getting out of it was another part that I wanted to go ahead and make sure was intrinsic to it. We have had meetings where we did just do a round table. Mm-hmm. They knew ahead of time that they were going to do that there was not going to be a speaker, and that they were just to bring certain types of, bring these topics with you and be prepared that this is what we're going to talk about. And that was good because every once in a while to do that, if people have had some burning questions that they may have held off on, they had the opportunity to do so. But the other reminder that they get every single time that we meet is that we have a private Facebook group where not the whole world can see it. It's just for members, and that we can talk about things if they have specific needs that if we can't get to it in the class, or we can share information. Somebody comes across a great article on something or a video that's really helped them learn more about a specific new technology. We share that in the group. We test out things a little bit, how does this new logo look, things like that. I mean, we've had all kinds of great posts within the Facebook group, and the Facebook group is up to 73 members, even though the regular meeting usually rotates between 15 and 20 people.
Which is not a bad group. I mean, that's a nice ratio. So people want to keep their toe in what's going on.
They do. And we've had some folks that literally have said, I've never been able to make a meeting, but the fact that we will usually put up, if there's been any kind of PDFs that were presented at the meeting, we post it up under the Facebook group. If we happen to have had a video or something we could share with the rest of the group that didn't get to attend, and it's there so they can go back and look at it later. It's been very, very resourceful.
Excellent. Well, great. Well, I just want you to let people know, since we're videotaping it, who you are, what group you're with, and thanks for just being such a advocate for your community, because I believe that micro business is the backbone of America, and the future of us is both entrepreneur and micro business, to keep hope alive and keep possibility alive in a world where the big box jobs just will not be there all in the future. We must create new opportunities, and this is supporting that and keeping our downtown and our other businesses alive. So tell them a little bit who you are, and thanks for going over this.
Well, I'm Tracy Cotton with Morrow Insurance Agency. We have locations here in Marion, North Carolina, where I just happen to be based, as well as Hendersonville, North Carolina. So we've been in Western North Carolina for almost 100 years. I've not been there the whole time, obviously. I've been in the business for over 20 years now, and have done a lot of things, but in the last few years, this became very evident to me as a need, because I work entirely with small businesses. Now I also work with farms, which they are a business as well, and with that, seeing these folks that are sometimes new into business, sometimes they've been in business for a long time, but I'm usually talking to the owner, and these things come up as things that have really been tripping them up, and we talk a lot about those kinds of things, and it was just a need that I saw, and it's been great to be able to give back to the community. It's a passion for me just because I love social media and marketing, and anything that I learn I want to be able to share with the group as well. But really, for me, I just recognized that if I wanted to be successful, I needed to make sure that my businesses, who are my clients, were also successful. So it's also a great way for me to be able to connect people. And, if I know somebody and I can tell somebody about somebody else, then more likely they are to also talk about me. Yeah. It's been great.
And I've heard great things about your customers, too. I want to say that, where they've just said, if I got a problem, it's going to be solved. So I want to tell you that as well. So thanks very much. Wanted to get this documented because I have a vision of this being statewide in some form. And we've got the structure. We needed to get a proof of concept that we could show, because it's moving too fast. I love teaching. I just gave a fundamental social media class not far from here, and I'm going to network Amy to you to try to build one up over in Forest City area, and get that going, because I can only do so much in 3 hours.
Exactly.
I can give them online resources, but I really care that they build trust with each other. I really care that maybe a local social media person has a livelihood that I help, or a web developer. I'm kind of giving some tips to keep them current or add something sometimes, and then build them up. And that's, to me, really creating economic growth that's relevant and critical for our economy.
It's just been eye-opening. And I really, when I started out, I thought, well, we'll just try it and see how it works. And, we're coming up on our second anniversary. I mean, we've just finished, our second year of being in existence. And we're really seeing a lot of growth in the community. So I expect the membership to grow as well.
Well, one thing I'm going to do is, when I speak to the Small Business Center, bringing me in, see if we could schedule it so I could come to one of the meetings and just make that part of it. And anything from Snapchat on, or, I teach them all. So,
I know.
It'd be really fun to have one of them there, and work it out. So that'll be a talk. Anyway, thanks so much. Check the notes below. And if you want to create one, get in touch with me, and we'll work on it. Tracy, very busy, but I'm sure you're willing to answer a few questions. And let's keep building up our towns and let the world know what's great about the small towns across North Carolina and how valuable they are to the economy. Thanks.
Thanks.